Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. Bitcoin will cost $10 million coin more. There is a gap of 70 years between people who have 2% inflation or 2% deflection per year and people who have 0% inflation or 0% deflection. Just what is the difference between great money and bad money? Perfect money is the end of all economic problems. Money that isn't perfect means that our lives are short and hard. Bitcoin will be accepted in China. Come up with a company from the past 100 years that is still around and whose stock is worth more now than it was back then. What if I told you that I could make your business last forever? After a 14-year fight against being sent to the US, Julian Assange, co-founder of WikiLeaks, is now free. In order to protect Assange's freedom, an unknown Bitcoiner gave over 8 Bitcoin, which is worth about $500,000. This money was used to help Assange's family pay off the debt they received from his travel and settlement costs. Assange was freed from the high-security Belmarsh prison in the UK on June 24 after he and US officials came to an agreement. Soon after he was freed, he took a private plane from London Airport to Sapien in the Northern Mariana Islands, which are part of the United States. When Assange went to a district court in Sapien on June 26, he pleaded guilty to one count of breaking the U.S. Espionage Act by leaking secret papers. The trip was planned so that Assange would not be able to enter the United States. Stella Assange talked to Julian's wife, who said that freedom costs something. The Australian government wants Assange to pay them $520,000 for their trouble. As soon as the jail founder got back to Australia, Stella set up a crowdfunding page to help him pay off his bills. On June 24th, Bitcoin's price fell to its lowest level in 6 weeks. However, buyers quickly stepped in and raised the price back above $62,000 in less than 24 hours. When popular trader Shell looked at how the Bitcoin market was set up right now, he saw that some buyers were returning at the lows with the $60,000 area working as support. It would be better for Bitcoin if it could lock in a smaller time frame. The expert wrote on X on June 25th, "I think we run it back to $63,500 before the end of the week. If you read that, and Monday, Green Week will happen." You should do this when you, your family, your country, or your business are in a problem. You have to know when the bank fails and the currency falls, because you have a job or a life and you live in that culture. Your eyes are open. You now really care about Bitcoin. As of now, you use Bitcoin. Trump has learned about Bitcoin. Trump has to know, right? El Salvador's money lost value. They needed to know. I believe people in places like Lebanon, am I right? They do not have a safe way to pay. They need to know. If the people and leaders are wealthy and don't feel threatened or challenged, they don't need to know. If they're confident in their political position and don't fear being removed from office, they don't need to know. They don't need to know if they're not worried about their money or banks, right? If that happens, they won't be the first or last people to accept or value Bitcoin because they don't need to know. But there are many places in the world where you do need to know. It's not just places either, it's also people, right? The minority is no longer in charge. Who has lost their rights and who has lost their inheritance? They used to say that about the US. Who moved to the United States? It was the second boy. The second son to move to the United States. The family farm in Europe went to the first son, and the second son wasn't going to get anything. In order to give the second son land, a future, and hope, they jumped on a ship. They put themselves in great danger by crossing the ocean because there was a whole continent where they could start over and have a chance. The second sons had to know. In that way, I think Bitcoin is a great balancer. Rich people who are already comfortable won't need to know. They won't see it. And those who don't have a voice and are hoping for a better future are the hopeful ones, but they are also the dreamers, right? They're likely to look. It will be found. It's being found. A huge number of people are finding it. They'll accept it. It will be good for them. Over time, people from all over the world will find out about it. When they need to know. It seems that 95% of the economic benefits of ETFs have gone to Bitcoiners who don't have them. Don't you agree? If you don't agree with the ETF and didn't buy one, you made 20 times as much money in the last 5 months as people who did buy the ETF. If your enemy just gave you 20 times what they got, and everyone won, then are they really your enemy? It doesn't look like that, does it? Bitcoin went from $30,000 to $65,000 to $70,000, which is good for people who don't like ETFs. The ETFs don't hold 95% of blockchain. If you look really closely, I think there are maybe 1 million Bitcoin in the ETFs. But before the ETFs, there were 650,000 Bitcoin in grayscale. It's likely that there is only net 1%. the price of Bitcoin doubled, making it worth $700 billion, but only 1% of it has gone to the ETF. I could look at that and say, well, it looks like $693 billion of economic energy went to people who hate ETFs because of ETFs, right? That's why you shouldn't be afraid of it, right? For the most part, no, but they would say, wait a minute, they're centralizing. 1%. Are the 1% of Bitcoins that are out there really centralized? 1% is split among 33 ETFs that didn't exist before Grayscale. It used to be called Grayscale, and it had 650 Bitcoin. Now it has 34 ETFs, and they're not all centralized because most of the Bitcoin in Grayscale went to BlackRock, Fidelity, and other places. That's one reason I say you should